Hello and welcome. This presentation was prepared on the 10th anniversary of our association's journey in promoting landscape resilience in a homeowners association. Of course, change always introduces new challenges. While we were implementing this new approach, we did witness damage to the landscape from a, quote, serial pruner, a blonde white male in his late 30s that began damaging common area trees and leaving debris scattered through the neighborhood. These events sometimes coincided with Santa Rita's weekly visits, with both landscapers and neighbors witnessing and reporting the unsanctioned pruning. We followed up with community notifications asking the association to be vigilant, and also by filing reports with the Sheriff's Department. With added attention, the activities shifted to evening hours, but they did eventually calm down, perhaps thanks to the community being on alert. Having said that, the benefits of this new approach will take time to realize. In fact, we're still witnessing breakage and high winds from leader branches that have not had time to recover from prior pruning practices, and will likely need to continue responding to breakage until Mother Nature is done with this natural pruning approach. But at least we're on the right path. Of course, the danger here is that in a world where we expect immediate returns, the community might consider these events as evidence that the new approach isn't working, and thus revert to the old way of doing business. This is a concern especially in a time of social media, where it might take only one reckless post to influence the community or a new board to abandon the significant investments made to date. In this regards, we certainly don't want to dismiss any legitimate concerns or complaints of residents, but we do want them to be shared in a positive community venue away from social media, for which there's no accountability for misinformation, which can quickly snowball into bad decision making. So what are some of the countermeasures we've taken to address the same? The first thing we've done is to thoroughly document our procedures in a landscape guidance document publicly available to the community and referred to in discussions with our contracted landscapers. This document contains over 120 pages of details regarding how we manage our landscape, ranging from thresholds on what triggers an irrigation shutdown during a monsoon, to a summary of activities that volunteers in our community support. For those who understandably don't want to sit down and read a thick volume, it also includes dozens of cued links to YouTube videos that summarize what we're doing on the landscape. To help with development of the guidance, we host open annual meetings where we invite the community to review, comment, and share recommendations for improvement. Open meetings are usually hosted on a weekend to ensure accessibility and encourage members to meet face-to-face. Not only does this help build community, the resulting discussion is usually polite and professional, as opposed to a knee-jerk response to rumors or innuendo spread on social media. This ensures everyone has a voice. In essence, if you have a concern, we welcome your input on how we can do things better, but we do ask that you take the time to be present and share your concerns professionally. Our landscape guidance is also critical for capturing institutional knowledge that might otherwise be lost when a committee member or chair moves on. This is critical to ensure smooth transitions when dedicated volunteers retire or move out of the community, and it helps us more effectively respond to emergencies when we have failures in community infrastructure. And since we want there to be transparency, we host everything we do, from meeting summaries to presentations, on a Google Drive, accessible not only to our own association, but to other associations interested in learning from our successes and failures. This ensures that if things fail over time in our own community due to a change in leadership or direction, the work will still live on through others who may want to adopt and improve on our own approach within their own communities. In the index for our Google Drive, we also host a link to a story map where you can take a tour of the landscape over time and see how it's changing in response to our sustainable approach. Needless to say, this has all been possible thanks to us having a board of directors and a community that supports our approach. In particular, our board president, Ms. Sandra Drain, has worked tirelessly to support community improvements and activities like this volunteer tree planting event, coordinated with Tucson Clean and Beautiful in December of 2023. Thanks to Sandra's leadership, we replaced 15 sunburned and diseased trees with 20 new drought-tolerant desert natives at minimal cost to the association. Community members can take pride in knowing that they made a difference in improving habitat for both humans and wildlife in our community. On occasion, our landscape committee has also hosted informal meet and greet events focused on raking paths and collecting garbage in our common areas. This also helps us with safety, since getting to know your neighbors while building a water harvesting basin is a great way to build community. In addition, we have dedicated landscape volunteers that report and repair leaks rather than waiting for landscapers to address the same on a weekly cadence. Volunteers also monitor our monthly common area water bills, since we can't rely on our property manager to notify us if a meter is reporting high water use, suggesting a leak in our system. Santa Rita also helps us out by chipping Palo Verde clippings, which we reclaim and apply to our water harvesting basins. So all this mulch that's been hanging out here for the last year has created a nice little environment for bugs to help aerate the soil. I can see there's all kinds of activity here. I bet if I come back later this afternoon, now that I've removed all this mulch, all these little bugs will be gone and this will be bone dry. Volunteers also help maintain water harvesting features through basin redevelopment and rock placement, mulching of common areas, flagging problem areas for landscaper follow-through, and we're assisting with our commercial contractors with garbage and scat removal. In closing, one of the best compliments I think our association has ever received was a question where someone once stated, "Why can't we be more like other HOAs?" And I consider that a compliment based on breaking that degenerative paradigm, that degenerative cycle. Needless to say, breaking that paradigm wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the dedicated volunteers in the community that support this effort. First and foremost, I really got to thank Mary Graff, who has donated hundreds of hours on everything from creating newsletter entries to keeping the community informed, to helping us with our procedural guidance, to just being present and making sure that the community is aware that what we're doing is positive. In addition, it's important to recognize a few of our most active current volunteers, which includes David Wharton, Mark Timmerman, and Siobhan Tice, and also Guy Brunt and David Koenig, who helped with a lot of the features in our community. Finally, my sincerest thanks to our former board president, Ms. Sandra Drain. In addition to supporting our sustainable landscape procedures, she's contributed hundreds, if not thousands of hours to the community on multiple projects. Everything from walking the community with our landscapers to make sure they're adhering to our guidance, to getting our community on single-source trash collection, which not only diminishes climate impacts, but also saves wear and tear on our community streets, to working with dedicated volunteers to get water-intensive, expensive, and unsanitary grass replaced with synthetic turf. Needless to say, board leadership is critical in realizing sustainable practices, so if you live in Agua Dulce and see her, please thank her for her contributions over the years. This concludes the summary of our 10-year anniversary for these ongoing efforts. I want to thank everyone shown on this slide for your help and support over the years. If you're interested in taking a leadership role in your own community, please check the description of this video for resources that might help. Catch you next time.